Lock up your children! Yes, Salem, we're back!
Previously on episode 13. Mary awoke with a new outlook on her journey and got to training. Chico needed to reach the rest of the team's levels, and he put in the work. Mary had been without Billy for several days now, but she had forgotten what it was like to have a legendary Pokemon on her side. Her Zapdos was magnificent, and he was so happy to finally get his chance to fight at Mary's side. He'd wanted to since he joined her the first time. Mary showed him plenty of affection, and he returned it in kind. Everyone trained hard, but no one was happier seeing Mary back to her old self than Flare. She sat at her trainer's side, panting happily as her friends hyped Chico up for his first and their final gym battle. Mary knew what was at stake, her 8th badge and a rematch with Jeffrey. She wasn't losing to him, and not a single Pokemon would die in this last and most crucial gym battle if she had anything to say about it. They set out the following day, Mary on the back of Chico, who insisted he carry her. She felt as happy as she had when Broomy had carried her on his back a year ago. She missed him terribly. Chico flew straight and true to Viridian City, landing in front of the gym. Mary took a deep breath, touched her empty shoulder, remembered the good times, and walked inside. Her team tore through the gym's trainers mercilessly, and it wasn't long before Mary stood in front of a smirking Jeffrey. "Well, it's been a long time since we stood against each other like this. I've been looking forward to it since we ran into each other a few days ago," he said. "As have I," Mary replied. "I'll have thy badge before the afternoon." "Still think you've got what it takes to beat me, do ya? I've grown a lot since we last battled. You're looking at a former champion and current strongest gym leader in Kanto." "Who has lost to me every time we battled," Mary reminded him. "And I want to keep that pattern alive and well." "Then let's cut the chit-chat and get to the main event. Go, Machamp!" Jeffrey sent in his first Pokemon. "Chico, spread thy wings and take flight!" Mary sent in her Zapdos. "Of course, you still have a legendary Pokemon." "You expect anything less from me?" "Absolutely not," Jeffrey smirked. "Use Scary Face!" "Chico, use Fly!" Chico rocketed out of the way of Machamp's attempt to lower his speed, then struck hard, plunging it into the red. He lost some of his speed on the rebound, but Jeffrey had to heal his Machamp. Chico struck with Fly again, took a cross chop, then ended the round with Discharge. Next was a Cloyster that was a half-water, half-ice type. Mary wanted to switch, but Chico insisted he stay in. Mary knew his discharge was strong, so she let him stay regardless of the lowered speed. Cloyster set up spikes on the field, so if Mary switched out, the entering Pokemon would sustain damage. Now Chico really had to carry his weight to protect the others. He let loose a powerful discharge and Cloyster fainted. Staryu came in next and met the same fate. Chico was 3 for 3 when a Geodude came in. Mary just could not take the risk. "Chico, come back!" She withdrew her Zapdos. "Rarity, 'tis up to thee!" Her Milotic took some damage from the spikes and Geodude struck with Double Edge, but Rarity stuck it out and knocked out the rock type with Surf. Jeffrey sent in Feraligatr and Mary sent Chico back in to take on another water type. Feraligatr struck at critical power with Thrash, and Mary felt her heart leap into her throat as Chico hit the ground. She held her breath as Jeffrey prepared to gloat when her Zapdos pushed himself back to his feet and let out a great cry. Mary gasped and grinned brightly, then hurriedly called him in for a healing turn. Feraligatr was locked into Thrash, and this time it hit less strongly. "Chico, use Discharge!" Mary ordered. Chico zapped the water type and brought down his opponent to red. Feraligatr hit him again, but Chico was too fast, and he finished the job. Jeffrey's last Pokemon was a Floatzel, and Mary knew they had this in the bag. Jeffrey locked eyes with her, and they could practically hear what the other one was thinking. Floatzel, use Crunch! Chico, discharge at full strength! Mary and Jeffrey looked at each other in the eyes again, and he nodded to her with a soft smile. Floatzel bit down on Chico's wing right as he let loose a ton of electricity. Floatzel lost its grip and fell to the floor. Chico spread his wings and let out a victorious battle cry. Mary cheered loudly and ran forward to hug her Zapdos tightly. Chico put his wings around her and crowed happily. Mary was so proud of him, tears sparkling in her eyes, and she stroked his feathers. With a little help from Rarity, Chico had carried them to their final gym victory. Jeffrey walked over to them, chuckling to himself. I really shouldn't have expected a different outcome. You're as strong as you've always been, with twice the skill, he said, and handed over her 8th badge. She pinned it to her cloak, her 16th and final badge. You earned that. Thank you, Jeffrey, for a great battle, and a fun one at that. Likewise. Thanks for coming back again. He smiled and they shook hands. Mary got a call on her Pokegear from Professor Oak saying he had something for her. She walked down to Pallet Town and got the HM for Rock Climb from him, which Flair learned. Mary was also granted permission to go to Mount Silver whenever she was ready. She didn't feel like she was and decided to check her map for any other place she hadn't been and found Mount Moon and Cerulean Cave. She set off for Pewter City and hurried over to Mount Moon where she caught Chaos, the Mismagius. Cerulean City wasn't far, so she made the walk and spent the night at the Pokemon Center pampering her Pokemon, especially the very tired Chico. She slept peacefully with Wynot by her side, and the next morning she walked into the cave and caught Pinesaw, the Pineco. It was dark, but she used her tracking powers to guide her way through the cavern. She smelled something powerful. As she walked, she picked up a few useful items, including a charm called a Lucky Egg, and a discarded Master Ball. This Master Ball was a sign of good things to come. She just knew it. What she found at the end of the cave was a legendary Pokemon called Regigigas. She tried her best to capture the beast, coming close every few Pokeballs, but something told her to keep the Master Ball for something else. Eventually, Regigigas wore itself out like Heatran had, and fainted. Mary was a little disheartened when her Pokedex picked up a powerful entity near the nearby power plant. It was nightfall by the time she got out of the cage and rode Rarity down to the plant. What looked like another Zapdos revealed itself to be a Dialga. Mary remembered this thing was what killed Cynthia. But this wasn't the same Dialga. It had a different smell. It smelled kinder. Her Pokedex told her that Sarah had once caught his counterpart Palkia on her journey through Johto. Mary called on Cobweb Jr. to use Stun Spore, and then Wynot to use Mirror Coat to plunge the legendary into red health. Before throwing her Pokeball, Mary smiled at him. Dialga, I mean thee no harm, despite our battle. I seek thee as a friend. Thy other half, Palkia, made friends with my own little sister. I wish to be friends with thee. I once had a friend in the mighty Rayquaza, and I miss him so. Just from our short battle, I can feel that thou art also mighty, but with a soft heart. Now when I throw my Pokeballs, consider joining me, and I'll keep you well. She threw her first Dusk Ball, and Dialga went inside. 1 shake, 2 shakes, 3 shakes, click. Dialga has been registered to your Pokedex, her encyclopedia beeped. Kronos, you will not be sorry, Mary promised. I'm taking thee with me to Mount Silver. And that's just what she did. She gave Sniffles a hug and put her in the meadow before adding Kronos to the team. Together they hiked to Mount Silver from Victory Road's gate as soon as dawn broke. She caught a Cherubi named Warlock, and inside the cave she caught Slash the Zangoose. There was another spike in energy, and Mary followed it to a Moltres. At first, the cry it let out sent her heart into a rush as it sounded like Broomy, but when the illusion faded, it revealed a huge whale. Kyogre, the deity of the sea, a water type. It can cause storms that raises sea levels. Let's make this one quick, Mary said and pulled out the Master Ball. Welcome to the team, Nemo! She threw the ball and caught the legendary Pokemon. Kyogre has been registered to your Pokedex, beeped her encyclopedia. That is the last encounter you will receive on this journey. Hike to the top and face your final challenge. Not until we've all trained up, Mary said and looked at her team with a sentimental smile. It was almost over. And now, the finale. This is not in the right spot. Seems to be working, I think. Double check. Yeah, we're working. We're working. There we go. Alright. What's up, guys? It's Casey Zelgelman, aka the Fourth Sanderson sister, coming at you with the finale of Mary Sanderson Plays Pokemon.